Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Philly Fan Radio Podcast. My name is John Meyer, along with Dan Palmieri, and today we're talking anything birds. I mean, to be honest with you, we've got a lineup to talk about from Brandon Graham's retirement to the defensive Swiss cheese that happened over free agency. The new NFL rules is how are we going to make some moves here with the draft looming around the league. And then the last thing we want to wrap up is the Eagles Autism Challenge. Dan, before I get to any of that, I notice in your background there's a new trophy. Do you want to tell everybody about your new trophy?
Yeah, so my new Lombardi trophy was finally built, custom made through the beautiful guys at Copy Trophy. I'll throw them out there. And, hopefully I can fill up that shelf with a little bit more over the years. My wallet won't appreciate it, but
Neither
my,
will the wife.
yeah, well, my wall will appreciate it. That's about it.
I got a question for you. Is that shelf sturdy enough for all the trophies that are going on it?
Oh, it's right into a stud. Not
Yeah.
this stud, but the wall stud.
I was
You
going to
know
say
it.
the same thing because that's a false stud to me. But
No, that thing's right in the stud. That's precious cargo up there.
yeah, exactly. Well, that looks awesome. In fact, I got a bunch of things that hang in my basement, and we're gonna get to them in a little bit. We'll get them hung up. In fact, I collect a pile of them, and then I just hang everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
My entire basement is just gonna be flooded of Eagles. Anytime anybody asks me, "What do you get you?" I mean, I have no clue. Anything Eagles, don't care. Just I'll
Mm-hmm.
put it on the wall. So, well, as I mean, let's talk about it, Dan. We talked with Jamie, the Philly sports guy, about Brandon Graham's retirement. He seemed to think Brandon was coming back for another year. I did not. It looks to be that Brandon Graham is retiring on top.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody more deserving. He put his all out there. Tore his triceps again in the Super Bowl. So, would we have liked to see him again? Absolutely. Think he could have been more productive. I mean, it doesn't seem like he aged horribly. He was still productive on the field, but I mean, if there's a guy that ever deserved to ride off into the sunset, it's him. I only wish that Kelsey was around to retire, as an Eagle on top again. But, you know, it, Brandon Graham gave us everything. We could never question his heart. His heart didn't always match his play on the field. He wasn't always that great, but I mean, persevered. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that you're never going to not see in the building. He's going to be around. He could be a position coach like right now, probably.
One of the biggest things you always think about is like, man, when these guys retire, what happens? Well, we wouldn't want to see Graham retire, Kelsey retire, Dawkins retire. I mean, it just happens. While we age, we think the Eagles should stay at one point in their life. And in fact, Brandon Graham, awesome. I mean, there's so much that we can say about him. Obviously the little strip that he did against Brady was probably the most memorable thing in that Super Bowl that I can remember, that sealed the deal pretty much. And then he played in this one, torn tricep, came back, retore the damn thing, and he gave his heart out to it.
Yeah, I mean, the memory will always be that strip sack, absolutely. But I mean, over the years, he was incredibly productive. Like I said, he didn't start out well, but he was consistently never recognized that much, like by the league, not through Pro Bowls or whatnot. But I
Yep.
mean, he was always productive and a great character guy. And I think his impact off the field is gonna be felt just as much on the field.
Dan, I got to talk about what happened with free agency. You and I mean, we talked about this before. I think we were stressed. I mean, I'm stressed a little bit now. If you look at the defense, it's not the same. I mean, literally, it looked like holes, Swiss cheese. The number one person we wanted to see signed was Zach Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
He finally got signed, but then it seemed like everybody else is gone. Everybody else is leaving for bigger contracts, and rightfully so in most cases. You, as an Eagles fan, be like, you just won the Super Bowl. Just take less money. Would you take less money at work? Let me know. I mean, if your performance is up to par, we all want them to stick around because we want to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, my biggest concern right now, and my question to you is, can we repeat with almost an entire new defense?
We can absolutely repeat, but I think, I mean, with the way it's constructed right now, we haven't seen the draft. Still got, second tier free agents, third tier free agents, and, some possible trades, but we're going to have to become an offense heavy team. I mean, not to say we weren't throughout the season at parts, but you're going to see less dominant performances by the defense. I mean, what I'm concerned about is our back end. Yeah, we lost some people on the line. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, which I think we can supplement a little bit with other guys like a Jomo, and we signed a few guys, who could be positional, rotational edge rushers. But I mean, the back ends. I mean, Sidney Brown. I hear people all over the radio saying, "Okay, well, we got Keely Ringo, we got Sidney Brown, and the only thing I'll say to that is Keely Ringo was a third stringer. You cannot take a third stringer and make him a starter on a Super Bowl defense. Same with Sidney Brown. He was a third stringer. You can't take him and put him on a Super Bowl defense. You're going to have holes, you're going to have deficiencies. And I mean, one thing we really didn't even mention here, I mean, Gardner Johnson. You signed him for a 3-year contract. You brought him back for 1 year. I mean, what the hell's with that? And then all of a sudden you hear the Eagles are a finalist in signing Reed, the safety out of Kansas City, and they were going to give him more money than they gave Chauncey. So I really didn't understand that whole thing. I know they're going to say it's a financial thing, but I think there was some kind of attitude thing there too.
I think something was karma because CJGJ was messaging and putting things all over Twitter about Slay, and
Mm-hmm.
then he got canned himself. I agree. I think there's something more to that. It doesn't make sense in our book, and obviously we're hearing a lot of rumors, speculations. We don't have firsthand knowledge on what's going on. I Slay was gone, and I was okay. I mean, I think Ringo could have. No, Isaiah Rogers could have stepped up. Well, no, Isaiah
Mm-hmm.
Rogers. Now what? Like, what do we do there? Then CJGJ, bam. I think we lost so many on the defensive side of the ball. I am hoping Vic can salvage this and make everybody look like a Zach Bond out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. We could absolutely be overreacting to the fact that we're going to have new people out there. But
Oh, we always do. I mean, we have to.
well, yeah, of course. But I think the problem is that you're going to see a massive learning curve. You saw it kind of in the first 4 weeks, maybe even 5 weeks of the season, this past season. But I think you're going to see more of a learning curve. You're going to be relying on not just, well, not rookies, but you're going to be relying on unproven guys.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, the fact that you got starting Pro Bowl caliber play from Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, that doesn't happen. That never happens. You don't have impact starters for two guys come in and just play like that. So to think that we're going to get one of those again, just one of them, is just, it's not accurate. We'll be lucky if we do, but it's just not feasible.
Yeah. Will we find another diamond in the rough? Now, looking at this, who did we sign during the free agency stuff? Adoree Jackson. What is it? Aziz? I can't even pronounce. How do you
Aziz
pronounce it?
Ojulari.
Ojulari. Damn, thank God I have you. Okay, another defensive end. Joshua Uchi?
Yeah, Uche.
Uche. I'm sorry. You
Uche.
must Uche. Okay, another
Ole.
defensive end. And then obviously AJ Dillon, on the offensive side. Yeah. There were a couple of other ones, and I have to tell you, when I see some of the names, I'm like, I've never heard of them before. And
Mhm.
but I never heard of Zach Bond before either. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it's a bunch of guys, second tier, 1 year contract type of guys. I knew Adoree Jackson and Aziz only because they played for the Giants. Saw them.
Played for who?
Yeah, exactly. That team in New Jersey, one of those teams in
The
New
Jets.
Jersey. Yeah, Russell Wilson's new team.
Yeah, they don't even have a winning record combined. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, they're positional guys. it's pretty much it's low risk, high reward. But to think that they're going to come in here and be immediate starters, impact starters, you know, you'll be lucky if they are. But again,
We'll
we
tell at
got
training camp, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, but we have coaching that can bring out the best in people.
No.
So maybe it was a matter of they have like Saquon syndrome. They played on a shit team with shit personnel, so they come to a team that actually has legit personnel and they thrive.
And I just go back to Zach Bond. I mean, I'm high on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And then we're going to be screaming that they need to sign any one of these players. The 1 year contracts I get, but I feel like there are so many 1 year contracts that we end up in a tough spot again when we win the Super Bowl next year. Is can we re-sign all these?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're signing them to a 1 year cheap deal, and best case scenario is that they play great and they outplay that contract. So then you're talking about you're going to have to cough up more money, a
Mm-hmm.
la Zach Bond. So the defense is going to be in a transitional state for a while. I think a lot of it is predicated on the fact that the market is ridiculous. I mean, you're seeing guys get $30+ million and they're edge rushers. I mean, think of what Jalen Carter's going to get when his contract comes due. Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to pay a defensive tackle $30 million.
Which is more than Saquon. So you look at
Yeah, the market in the NFL is so ridiculous. It's just
yeah.
it's crazy. The money
Uh,
that's just being thrown around is just crazy.
Thank goodness the NFL upped the cap space this year, and they're going to have to do it again every year. It's going to get ridiculous. You ever see like the NBL players that make $300 million
Hmm.
for like 10 years or something like that? But they play like what 170 some games, 160 some games throughout the entire year. So it's a lot if you kind of spread it out. Either way, going to have like a $1 billion cap space pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah. Their NFL is inflation proof. That's what it comes down to.
That's exactly it. All right, Dan, switching gears a little bit, we will talk about kind of the draft and Howie and how things might go potentially. But I want to talk about some of our notes. Looking at it, you put down 18 game schedule with 2 preseason games. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I like that. I mean, the stipulation is that they were going to talk about it. I don't know if they did, but that is on the docket in terms of going to an 18 game season, only having 2 preseason games, which has become a joke as of late because nobody plays in the preseason anyway. No starters, at least. But the other thing is that they're trying to negotiate if they go to an 18 game season to have 2 buys, which I think would be good. I think
I'm
that
right
would
there
be
with you. I think that's good. In fact, I think we can all agree that a preseason game is like two hand touch out there half the time. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you're not seeing first string and you're barely seeing second string out onto the field. Nobody wants to get hurt. So it's really, I think the more games that we have on the schedule will be treated like a preseason. So game 1 and 2 of the regular season, players are getting acclimated just like they do now. Who do you really see play in a preseason?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good team, you don't see any of your starters play.
Oh, so the
If
Eagles, we won't see anybody, right?
no, if you're like the Cleveland Browns or the New York Giants, you're going to see their starters play all 4
Russell
quarters.
Wilson's going out there.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah. Hey, maybe he'll turn it around for them. I'm all for it. I'm also all for getting rid of the preseason games too. Start the season a little earlier. I'm good with me. Start it in August.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I'll be happy if there's the football all year round. I don't care.
Well, there is, but just not the NFL. Okay,
Yeah.
going into so Dan, one thing you and I were talking offline, and I really felt your passion and your hatred for this dynamic kickoff rule that's happening. Explain to the audience what it is and what's going to happen.
So let's take you back in time. We'll go in the time capsule to about, I don't know,
Okay,
4 years ago.
okay,
A
hold on.
touch,
Shutting the
yeah,
door. Okay, I'm 4 years
yeah,
younger. Wow, I look really good. All right, anyway.
looking good.
All right.
But I mean, a touchback was to the 20-yard line.
Yep.
This past year, we had touchbacks to the 30-yard line, which I thought was stupid, but Anyway,
That's like more than half the field. It looks like from on camera. Like, oh my god, I can throw a pass to the end zone. I'm done.
well, yeah, and with the way that kickers are right now, that's what you can get 2 first downs, 3 first downs. You're already in field goal range.
Yep.
But now they're saying they want to increase kickoffs returns even more. So now if you kick it into the end zone, you now get the ball at the 35. The opposing team gets the ball at the 35. That my
Let me
passion is
ask you a
because
question real quick. I gotta jump in. Is there a thought process behind it that we're not going to be kicking it into the end zone anymore, and we want to get it down to the 10-yard line? Because if it hits the 5, more than likely it's going back in. But get to the 10 and run it back, but that increases the likelihood of somebody getting injured. Or
so there's the stipulation. There is the gray zone is if you kick it, like say you squib kick, and it
yeah,
hits the 20-yard line or less, if it hits the 15-yard line on the fly, rolls into the end zone, the touchback comes out to the 20. If it hits the end zone on the fly and they down it, it's to the 35. So what they're wanting is those little pooch kicks that land in between the 20 and the goal line, which is fine. I mean, but to give the ball to the opposing team at the 35, it's just that's just way
might as well
too
give them a
much.
touchdown. They're going. I just, or even a 3
Yeah.
points at that point. The way the kickers are going now. Remember, we didn't see too many over, what was it, 57 yards, until Jake
Mm-hmm.
Elliott started doing 61 yarders against the Giants. That we started seeing even further ones and really knocking them out. Now, I agree with you, Dan. I don't know the whole thought process behind this.
So, I mean, it's just they're inconsistent. They said all along we're doing the dynamic kickoff because we want to reduce injuries. Okay, fine. You basically didn't want returns.
Yep.
Okay, so now they increase returns and they're like, yeah, we want more returns. So what's going to happen next offseason? They're going to get an injury and then all of a sudden say, oh, no, we're going to back off on this. It's just there's no consistency. And you don't see the dynamic kickoff at the college level. You don't see it at the high school level. I don't understand why they're messing with this thing. It's just, to me, it's stupid. I don't like it. I just mainly I don't like the fact of the touchback coming back to the 35. You're favoring the offense so heavily there because all you got to get is 2 first downs and you're in field goal range.
Now, is this also maybe to increase the points onto the field, like higher percentage games versus low point scores, right?
Yeah, like
I
you're going
still
to
don't get
favor
it,
the
but
offense.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you can favor the offense. That's what they're doing. They're favoring the offense. But again, when it comes down to December and January, as we see every single year, defense wins championships. And I just don't like the fact that you're giving the team at the 35. You're basically penalizing your team if they kick it out of the end zone. It's just stupid.
See, when you get to the 35, and if you look at this, I know they're trying to reduce injuries. Now they don't. Now they're going backwards, and they're not making any consistent. Wouldn't it just be best to say, "Hey, listen, we're kicking it off. You get it on your 20-yard line after possession has been scored." I mean, just give it to them. Don't even do a kickoff. I mean, it's really kind of ridiculous to even attempt it because that is what's happening. They, like you said, they don't take it away from high school. They don't take it away from college. Are they trying to start a trend, but it's not really going anywhere?
I think they're starting a trend, but I don't think you're going to see the collegiate level ever
Yeah.
adopt it.
It's not being adopted.
No, they're not, and they're not going to do it because it's one of those absurd rules. And I understand the player safety aspect. You don't want a guy running down the field 100 miles an hour and then getting drilled, and that's fine. Okay, I understand that, but at the same time, there's two aspects that I can't stand. I can't stand the touchback to 35, and I can't stand the fact that you got to declare an onside kick. That's
Oh
stupid.
yeah. That's like
Stupid.
giving away your trick that you're going to do. Like, hey, listen, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
do a wild card here, or with a little flea flicker. That goes beyond the whole thing of trying to beat the other team with the best plays called and the best teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I don't like. I mean, how many times did we see with Andy Reid? Come out of the second half, you do a trick onside kick, and it was beautiful. It
Yep.
was great, but to declare an onside kick. Oh, and that was one addendum they made. You can declare an onside kick at any time now. Before, you were only able to do it within 2 minutes. You can do it at any time now, which is awesome because the team is really going to declare an onside kick with 14 minutes to go in the first quarter.
That's if you declare one, do you actually have to do one, or can you just kick it normally?
Oh, you're being forced to do it.
See that?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just hand the other team your play calling sheet? I mean,
might as well. I mean, the other proposal was start for an onside kick rather than do that. Give them like a 4th and 20, which was weird, but it's such an odd thing. And
this must be Jerry Jones coming up with some of these ideas. All right,
yeah.
Let's talk about some other rules, the overtime rules. Now, and this is being proposed, correct, for new
this
overtime
was passed.
rules?
This was passed
this
today.
one was passed today. I must have missed this. I was catching up on the tush push one. So overtime rules now allow both teams to possess the ball regardless if there's a touchdown first.
Mm-hmm.
What are your feelings?
I like it. I mean, they did it, and they've been doing it in the postseason for a few years now. And I thought it was kind of silly that they didn't adopt it in the regular season. But the only thing I think that I didn't like is that they're still doing a 10-minute quarter in overtime. I thought they would have made it like a 15-minute quarter, a full quarter. Because if the team getting the ball first takes a methodical drive and, like, say, drives it 9 minutes down the field, gets their touchdown, then the opposing team only has a minute to score. So they really don't get too much.
I'm okay with that, actually. And the reason I'm okay with that is I'm looking at it from the Eagles' perspective, going down the field in 9 minutes and giving the other team only a minute to score. But then on the flip side, how many touchdowns have we seen that only took seconds off of it? So I think it goes to the other team to, now that is strategy in me. Thinking about it, taking time off the clock, but then also preserving time for when it's your turn to go. I am good with the 10 minutes. In fact, hey, that is what I'm glad that both sides will get a chance regardless if a touchdown is scored.
Yeah, so here's a scenario for you. You're going to see a lot of strategy played with it. If you win the coin toss in overtime, are you kicking it or receiving it now?
I am kicking it.
I agree with you 100%.
The reason is I am hoping my defense will stop them, and then I want to go down and get a touchdown, and it's over.
Yeah, basically, I want to know what I have to do in the final drive. Do I go for it on 4th down, or do I just punt it, or something like that? But I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I'm with that one. All right, let's talk about the Tush push. Apparently, and you just reported that it's been tabled until May.
Yeah, until the next league owners meeting.
16 teams voted to ban it currently.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up safety concerns, which is why they kept it. They said, hey, listen, there have been 0 injuries with the Tush push. But then others have said it looks more like a rugby play.
Mm-hmm.
Who the freak cares? Who cares what it looks like? Half the plays on the thing look a little trickery and all the other stuff. I mean,
aesthetically, it's not pleasing.
No, we're just going back to the kickoff rules. Mm-hmm. This is the teams that want to ban it, probably Green Bay, is because they can't defend upon it and they suck on doing it. If a team practices, let's just talk about a Hail Mary real quick. A team practices this Hail Mary so perfect that they are almost 99% able to get the touchdown or get the pass or receive it and complete it. Do you put in a thing to ban it because they have practiced this nonstop?
And that's what it is. I mean, you're banning a play because a team is good at it. I don't want to hear the safety concerns because you're going to ban a guy being pushed from behind. Where's the line stop? Can you ban a guy, or can you ban a play which the guy's stuffed, but like a running back, and then you could push him across the line? Are you going to ban the QB sneak altogether? Because regardless if someone is pushing the quarterback from behind, the offensive linemen are still going to try to cut the ankles up front. So
actually, that's a really good point of, okay, so you ban the tush push, right? So what is actually defined of banning the tush push? When the QB gets it and he gets pushed behind, Or is it more of a pass and then the QB pushes the running back like Saquon over the line? While it takes another millisecond or something to hand it off, one might be still more acceptable within rules.
Yeah, I mean, the way the rules were written, the way Green Bay wanted it was the quarterback is under center, or whoever's under center takes the snap directly and is pushed across the line. That would be forbidden. So, what's to stop a team from lining a running back directly to the left? Exactly, directly to the left. Quarterback gets the ball, hands it off within a millisecond, and you push the other guy. It's just, it's so
Do you know
stupid.
how many times the left was open for us to that Jalen started to go to the left rather than
Mm-hmm.
do the center for the touch push? So I think this is jealousy, in my opinion, because a lot of teams, suck at trying to do it, and you have to define. There's no QB sneak. Period. If the QB gets it and he tries to see, you can't do that. That's considered a tush push, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If this ban does not go in effect, we do play Green Bay. I think we just tush push the shit out of the game,
I
like
say you
every
have
freaking down.
I say you have a 15-minute drive where you just tush pushed every play.
We were averaging like 3 yards for each one. We just keep freaking doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if this gets banned, I say you perfect something that is approved very close to it as, say, a slight handoff to Saquon, and it still similarly looks like it, but is not within rules. We do that the entire game against Green Bay to go, that's
Yeah,
cheating.
and it's just, the other argument by Green Bay was that it's virtually unstoppable. Well,
Oh, cry me a river.
exactly. There was
Because you
video.
can't stop it.
Well, no, there was video out there of Jordan Love trying to run it and he tripped over his own feet. Josh Allen in the playoffs tried to do it 3 times in a row, couldn't do it. So don't tell me it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable when you play the Eagles because the Eagles are good at it. But every other team, it's stoppable. So don't give me that bullshit excuse of, oh, it's unstoppable. You're just crying at this point.
That's almost like saying, okay, let's take Mahomes, the one that just lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles, right? Yeah, just rub it in it slightly. He's got a great sidearm pass, whatever it is. You can't do that
I
because
know what
he's
you're going
good
to
at
say.
it. What's that?
I know exactly what you were going to say.
Yeah. He's good at it. We should stop that because he's good at it and he's really good at it. Or when Brady was out there, he was great at the slant route, like 5-6 yards out to the side. He's good at it, right? He never ran. He sucked at running or sliding, like Brady, no more sliding. Sorry. You're good at it than getting this thing. You shouldn't do it. I think it's ridiculous when you're finding a team like the Eagles who's good at it. Yeah, I'm a little biased because it's my team, but at the same time, you're stopping something they work countless hours to perfect and you can't stop it. Well, here's an idea. Don't get them in 4th and 1. Don't get them in 3-1.
Yeah.
Harry, do your fucking job.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's what the goal line is. That's what short, defense is you're stacking everybody at the line and you're just looking to push the shit out of them.
Yep.
There's no rule stating that defense can't start pushing the ass of the defensive tackle and trying to penetrate the line. There's no rule of that.
Yep.
So why can't you do it? It's just that the aesthetic thing is because Luvu jumped over the line 4 friggin' times like an asshole, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna award you a touchdown." Well, don't jump over the line like a moron 3 times in a row.
You should have just gave the points. I would have loved to see them give us points at that point. That would have just rubbed it right a little bit more in the Super Bowl. All right, Dan, I got to continue on here. We have the draft that is happening soon, shortly. And the positions that you and I actually agree upon is defensive end, cornerback, and the safety. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this draft? Is Howie going to trade up from our 32nd? What are we, 32nd? And
yeah.
Is he going to trade up? Is he going to give away some of our massive stockpile of picks in 2026 to get anywhere near it? Do we need to?
I think you're not going to see him trade up this year, in my opinion. I think you're going to see it next year because next year we have, I think, as of right now, either 3 or 4 third-round picks because of the compensatory stuff. But this year we have the 32nd pick, we have the 64th pick, and then after that we have a bunch of low-level picks. I don't know. I think maybe you're going to see Dallas Goedert be a draft day trade, to be honest with you, because they're going to try to move up maybe in the third round. But first round, I don't think you're going to see a trade. I think it would just cost too much, and they really don't have the player capital to move. And who the hell's going to give up any more, first round picks if you're packaging Josh Huff in there?
You're going backwards, dude. You're
Yeah,
going to like
exactly.
seventh, Mr. Irrelevant at that point.
I'll give you
Sorry.
cash considerations.
I thought it's going to be Josh Huff and an IOU because sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't go there. Is it me, or do you feel like this draft is not a wow factor? Are there any wow anybody in this draft?
I
Even
don't
QBs
see.
aren't even on it, right? I mean, how many
Oh, I'm
wow
just
QBs?
the only thing I'm rooting for in this entire draft is that the Giants draft Shador Sanders because I want to see that blow up big time because it will just be a media frenzy with that guy. That's the only thing I want to see out of the draft. Otherwise, I could care less.
I would before we get to the Giants and some of their moves that are happening. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not. I think is it because we came off of the Super Bowl? The draft is like just all right, or like I'm just. I'm not seeing a wow factor from any of the players on it. No offense to anybody's on there. Our needs are just not in some of those areas.
Yeah, I think there's some wow out there, but mainly you're going to see those guys go in the top 10, and we're picking 32nd. It's not really an attractive place to pick. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to say, oh, we're going to trade up and get Abdul Carter, the guy from Penn State, the defensive end. But realistically, it's never going to happen.
When do you think he's gonna go?
I think he'll go probably number 2.
Yeah, we're not getting it. We're at 32nd. There is not enough moves Howie's going to make. Do I think Howie's going to make some moves for this draft? I hope not. I mean, the only reason I say I hope not is, like you said, I don't feel that there are some worthwhile moves that we want to make, and I think we save them. You mentioned Dallas Goddard, and I have to go there real quick. When you heard the rumors, and then you saw that he was told he can go out and seek trade, or you know what I mean, kind of public. What was your feelings?
I I was actually I was okay with it because I like Calcaterra and Dallas Goddard is a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, but he's just injured too much. He is. When he's on the field, fantastic. But at the same time, I think that I'd be okay if he were traded as long as we got some kind of value. But I also would be okay if he's on the team because I think he makes our offense better. But I think to say that we couldn't replace his productivity with somebody like, I mean, he was out and we had Calcaterra and we still were a pretty dynamic offense. So,
Calcaterra had that one arm grab over in the
mm-hmm.
corner and end zone, so that's pretty good. I'll give you my 2 cents on Goddard, and I agree with you. He's kind of injured a lot. He's got heart and passion, but as a player, when the team you're on gives you permission for a trade or knows you're seeking it, there's got to be some type of mentality cutoff that when you don't get traded and you're playing for that same team, that you still give your all, right? I mean, how do you just be like, well, they don't want me, I'm just not going to work?
Yeah, I mean, you have pride, you give it your all, but I mean, that's got to be basically a shot to the system. You thought that you had trade value, you thought that your value was more than what other teams thought you were. So it's got to be depressing for him. But in the same token, why not go out? He's in a contract year. Why not go out, ball out, become the best tight end in the league, and get a huge contract from? Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Money
Get
talks.
paid. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
just don't go to the Giants.
You can, but enjoy obscurity for the next decade.
All right. So speaking of the Giants, I think the biggest free agency move out there, with Aaron Rodgers aside, who has not signed with anybody, there's talks. Potentially, the Steelers might be a landing spot. It looked like Russell and going to a New York team, the Giants, which this is a once and done. I think this is a 1 year thing. I don't see Russell coming back after next year. He hit a prime. Has he hit the right team? I'm not sure. I like the guy, but you went to the Giants for sakes. I mean, who do you got? Neighbors?
That's it.
Yeah. I
That's it.
mean, yeah. So you've got Neighbors, and that's uh, um hmm.
Yeah, and what was the
Yeah.
problem in New York? They have no offensive line. That's why they
Yeah.
couldn't run the ball. That's why every quarterback was getting injured. I mean,
Look where Saquon's at now because you couldn't, go. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Saquon goes from 900 yards a season to 2,000. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he's got no offensive line and he's older. I mean, he's going to get, it doesn't matter what you do out there. You're going to get killed if you got no offensive line. And Daniel Jones is more mobile than he is at this point in his career. So I hope that he finds a fountain of youth because he's going to tear his ACL in week 1 with that offensive line.
So, or is Achilles going out there like
Mm.
Rodgers? But I give it to these older quarterbacks. I was trying to use a good word, but like
Seasoned.
these relics. Aaron Rodgers still wanting to play. He does not want to go out bad. He wants to go out probably like a Tom Brady style, but the quarterbacks of our era are, that we remember are definitely different. They're the older ones kind of rolling out, and you have the next generation rolling in. Russell Wilson's on that middle generation that yeah. I
Mm.
mean, good luck to him in New York. We'll see you twice next year, and you'll have a short season.
Yeah, he'll have a nice off season. He'll go to Cabo or wherever the hell he's going to go, Cancun, and that'll be nice because don't anticipate the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at least you could have gone for a backup to like Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. I mean, you would have probably had a better season. I
You
mean, you
could
might
have
not play much, but
you could have been like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's got a ring.
yeah, somebody put a ring on it. Well, hey, Kenny gonna. I'm glad we kept. Kenny wasn't bad watching him play in some of the things. I would have, like you and I talked about so much. I would have went with McKee, but that's just my
Mm-hmm.
personal thing. But hey, all right. So before we wrap, there's two more other things I want to talk about. One, did you see that the NFL is going to be using the electronic measuring for yards now?
Yeah, the aerial. I mean, they have computer chips in the ball and whatnot. I mean, it's kind of cool when you think about technology, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss the days of them having to use the measuring sticks and then, yep, where they had to take the little index card and shove it in there and be like, nope, it's short.
Or they like purposely did it slightly a little short and they'd be like, hey, we've got fourth and inches when it's like, really it was it. But hey, we got to get the anticipation. They will still have the chains as a backup for it. I don't know. I'm on a little nostalgia to the chain gang.
Yeah, I'm old school. I like the chain gang. I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see
We
I
got
could
to
see why
change.
they're gonna do it because there were especially that play with Josh Allen. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but that to me at least that was so obvious that he was over the line that I don't know how they could have reviewed it and not changed it. So
Well, I heard a rumor that the refs were betting and gambling, and those refs are not around anymore. So just saying that's why it wasn't as obvious. Though it turned out pretty well because I think playing the Bills would have been tougher in the Super Bowl
I
versus
agree.
the Chiefs. So I'm not condoning cheating. Not at
Hmm.
all.
In this
Not at all.
in this instance, I appreciate FanDuel for having the bets open.
yeah. especially especially when I want a couple $100 off the game. So yeah, hey, appreciate it. By the way, FanDuel's not a sponsor, but if you would like to sponsor this episode, please reach out to our marketing department.
Good disclaimer.
Yeah, like that. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about, Dan and I have signed up for May 17th, the Eagles Autism Challenge. And we signed up for the 10-mile bike ride because we're old and we can't run. So we're going to ride our bikes and
No, no, no,
enjoy the
no.
beautiful day.
Let me put that in there.
Oh,
You signed
okay.
up for the 10-mile bike ride because I'm old and slow and you'll make me look like a shithead because you can do it and I can't.
I was trying to be on a team effort that one is injured versus the other,
Go
or one is slower
team.
than So basically, we're compensating for Dan's slowness and we're riding a bike for the 10 miles. What the Eagles Autism Challenge is the Eagles basically, Jeffrey Lurie set up the Eagles Autism Challenge, and it's to support it. Everything, all the proceeds, everything goes to it. Now, Dan and I did pay to do the event, but we also committed to fundraise $500 each. That's $500 for Dan, $500 for me. I'm happy to say that I have reached $575. I have reached my goal, and we're working on Dan. We got to get Dan done. We've got over a month and a half to actually reach our goal, and there's a $25 minimum. You say, "Hey, you go, here's $25 to the challenge. Thank you. We will be happy to give you a shout out on our show." And in fact, Dan, I think I can go to the website right now if you want to talk a little bit, and I'll give everybody a shout out that donated. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great cause. They've been doing it for years, and all the money goes to the Autism Foundation. It's a fantastic cause. It doesn't get any better than that. And this will be the first time we're actually doing the challenge. And it'll be cool. You get to see the players, you get to do all the interactions, but it's really about just raising money and raising awareness for this great cause.
Exactly. Okay, I got to give a shout out for everybody that did it on mine, and then we'll go through it. So Sebastian Straub actually donated twice, one on behalf of the Ben Twall family, and then on his behalf. And these are significant amounts. You can see them on our website. I'm not going to tell you how much on this. Tim Coughlin, Brian Freed, Jason Gia Domenico, and I probably pronounced that totally wrong. And my daughter's right outside doing it.
Hmm.
Excuse me, miss, do you want to come over and say what it is? Yes, we're recording. Come on. Gian Domenico? There we go. Gian Domenico. Don't worry, Jason. If you ever catch the end of this episode, if you actually listen for the entire thing, you'll know to mess up. If not, you'll never even know it. My daughter will say something on it. Okay. Keith Benenzi, Josh and Kristen Herzog, Jeff and Sharon Herzog, GTM Delta, Gilboy Ford, which is right here in Whitehall. If you need a Ford, I'm buying my new truck for them. And Mako IT Consulting has all donated on behalf of the Eagles Autism Challenge. Now, I will splash up a QR code, a link for Dan's. We want to make sure that he reaches his $500 goal, which we know we're going to do. 17th of May, we're going down. We will be doing a lot of things. Dan?
Yeah, it's just, it'll be a lot of fun. And, I'm planning on not passing out at mile 2. So
It's 10 miles on a bike, man. It's the May
well,
17th. Come
I
on.
I might hurt myself.
Well, I'm not saying you won't, but
I
hey,
might
you
I
get.
might start to chafe. You never know.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's exactly right. Here, get a little rough for you. We do get some jerseys to wear, so there's a jersey
Hmm.
that'll be on it. That would be pretty cool. Our family's coming down to support us on the side. If you would like to help Dan reach his goal, please scan the QR code, pretty please, so that way we can reach the goal. Don't worry, we've got some time for it. We appreciate everything. Stay tuned. We're going to give a lot more information on how you can do that. And we're also going to be doing more podcasts that are happening. In fact, Dan, I got to tell everybody before I'm in the middle of building a brand new studio right outside the house. Above it is going to be the studio, and we're going to have a little corner for the Philly Fan Radio podcast explicitly for us, man.
It's going to be awesome. That sounds cool. I know you're going to go overboard with it, which is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Hell yeah. So don't worry. So instead of Dan and I doing this remotely, we're going to do this in person. We're going to be talking about the Eagles and what's happening. There's going to be some cool stuff. Don't worry. I'm hoping to have it all finished by third or fourth quarter this year, September, October, somewhere around there. Yes, I talk in quarters as a business person. Don't worry, stay tuned. And if you don't know already, you can follow me on the YouTube channel, my personal channel, John Meyer Podcast, or on TikTok for progress of the studio that's being built.
Yeah, that's cool. It's going to come out really nice. You're going to have to park in your more expensive truck in there. You're going to have a nice area above, working water, toilet, everything. It's going to be
Yep.
fantastic.
I can't wait for it. All right, everybody, we got to wrap this up. I want to appreciate you watching the Philly Fan Radio podcast. I'm your host, along with Dan Palmieri. And as always in tradition, before we wrap it up, how about it, Dan?
We're out of here, and go Birds.
Go Birds.